Hey there everyone, this is Rich from Fashion and Fragrance, here to bring you another first impression video. Again, this is from Serge Lutens, and this is going to be Louve, which did have a 50 ml bottle for it. Regrettably, it does not have that 50 ml option anymore, so this is exclusively in the bell jars as of this video. Of course, things always change, especially with Serge Lutens, so this could definitely be, a message that no longer applies after a couple years or so. But right now, it still does apply. So we're going to be talking about this fragrance today. So I'm going to go off the notes here. This did get released back in 2007. And the top notes, again, basing off of Fragrantica. Top notes are almond and fruity notes. Middle notes are musk, rose, and jasmine. Base notes of vanilla, resin, and amber. So based on the notes, I'm going to assume this is probably a gourmand fragrance. So I'm definitely expecting it to be very sweet. I've seen this compared to Rahat Loukoum, which I do love that fragrance. That is a really beautiful, like a cherry almond fragrance. So almond to me, in a fragrance, just comes off as tonka. Personally, I don't really get much of a difference between tonka or almond. They both have like this very nutty, vanillic undertone. So it's just like a gourmand, vanillic, nutty fragrance to me, the note. So we'll see if this comes off any different than how I'm expecting it to do, but so let's get into it. And again, I get these from Surrender to Chance. Not a huge fan of the dauber. You'll see that comment in one of my other videos. I just don't like the dauber. The way it's like, when you try to get it out, you just get it all over your fingers. Like more than usual for these things. And again, I usually do 2 to 3 dabs. I'm going to say 2 for this one just because it is a sweeter fragrance. Probably don't need too much to really get what we need to get from it, right? Oh, wow. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so this does not smell like Rahat Loukoum to me. I'm surprised a lot of people say it does. Whereas there is this cherry scent to it. I actually get a lot of rose in this. A lot of rose. Kind of like a Montal rose. It's like this sharper rose, I guess would be a good way to say it. Like, for example, if you smelled Intense Cafe from Montal, that kind of rose note in Intense Cafe kind of reminds me of this one. There's almost something perfumey about it. Kind of a powdery fragrance as well. So if you're not into powdery fragrances, you're probably not going to like this one at all. Thankfully, I actually love powdery fragrances normally. There's a lot more rose in here than I was expecting. People don't even rate it that high on Fragrantica as of this video. So, again, almond comes off to me as tonka. Very cherry-like, rosy, powdery. I think I like Rahat Loukoum more than this. But I ran out of my sample of Rahat Loukoum, but the little bit I did try recently that I had left, I really like that fragrance. So yeah, not much to say about this fragrance so far. It's very linear. A lot of almond / tonka, whatever you want to call it. A very tonka, rosy fragrance with that cherry quality to it. Different than I was expecting. I was not expecting this at all, actually. And at the beginning, when I first dabbed it on, there was like this really perfumey note about it. It smelled really old school. It smelled probably like something from the 80s that you would get. I would say this is probably leaning towards feminine. Again, I don't really care about gender connotations with fragrances, but if I were to say, I would probably say a woman would probably be more comfortable wearing it typically than a male, but again, it doesn't really matter. Anyone can wear anything. But if you definitely don't like feminine leading fragrances, you're probably not going to like this one. Again, it has rose in here, very noticeable to me. right away I noticed the rose. I'm actually surprised it's not listed higher. So yeah, rosy, gourmandish, cherry. So a little bit of a cherry cough syrup vibe as well, but not too much. Like, it's definitely on the lower end for that. I would say this is more so a rose and tonka fragrance than anything else, a rose and almond fragrance. Interesting. I obviously I'm expecting this to probably last on my skin a long time because of those notes. It's very dense. It's definitely sweet. It might not be as sweet as Rahat Loukoum though, which is actually kind of interesting. Yeah, because Rahat Loukoum is like a deeper, sweeter fragrance, whereas this is definitely more floral in nature because of the rose. You get a little bit of jasmine in here too. You get a little bit of like this white floral vibe as well. So definitely, like, again, more of on the feminine range. It's sweet, it's floral. So if you like fragrances like that, you probably want to check this one out. I definitely like this. I wouldn't say I love it yet, but things can change. I do love my sweet fragrances. So depending on how the dry down goes, maybe I will end up loving this. This is sweeter than Amboise Vanille in my opinion. But this one and Rahat Loukoum are pretty much on the sweeter end. This is not as sweet as Rahat Loukoum, but still sweeter than Amboise Vanille, for example. So if you like sweeter fragrances, probably want to check this one out. If you like gourmand fragrances, again, you probably want to check this one out, especially if you like rose. And if you loved Intense Cafe, I would say this is a dead ringer for someone who loves Intense Cafe. Just because it's sweet, it's rosy, just like Intense Cafe is. So if you like that fragrance, definitely check this one out. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this one as well. And again, this is Rich from Fashion and Fragrance. Goodbye.